When a surgeon performs a major gastric operation, they are taking an intricate, highly calibrated digestive system and tearing up the blueprints. They sever sections of the stomach and manually wire the remaining tissues directly into the intestines. The methods to pull off this biological reconstruction were pioneered by surgeons like Theodore Billroth in the late 19th century. He figured out how to excise diseased portions of the stomach and stitch the remnants straight into the lower digestive tract. By cutting out the natural pathways, the surgery forces the body to process food, acid, and enzymes through an entirely new plumbing system. The human digestive tract has to instantly adapt to a radical structural layout that it never evolved to handle. This forced adaptation comes with heavy risks. If the new surgical connections leak into the abdominal cavity, it causes severe peritoneal soilage and peritonitis, carrying a 10 to 15% mortality rate. A perfectly executed operation can still escalate into a fatal emergency through 3 specific vectors: compromised blood flow to the healing tissues, intense mechanical pressure building in the newly routed intestines, and severe disruptions to the body's chemical balance. Waking up from anesthesia means the patient has survived the physical trauma of the blade. The next 12 months will test whether their internal organs can survive the new layout. For 2 newly attached pieces of the digestive tract to fuse together securely, the living tissue requires a massive, uninterrupted supply of oxygen-rich blood. If a surgeon uses heavy crushing clamps during the procedure or pulls the sutures too tight, they can inadvertently sever that vital blood supply. This causes avascular necrosis. The localized tissue slowly starves and dies. Dead tissue cannot hold a surgical stitch. As the necrotic wall loses its structural integrity, the closures give way, spilling highly acidic gastroduodenal contents straight into the sterile peritoneal cavity. This internal spill rapidly triggers severe sepsis. The intestines often paralyze, a condition known as paralytic ileus, causing the entire digestive system to shut down. A microscopic restriction in local blood flow, cascading into a massive structural breach, shows how quickly a millimeter of dead tissue can send the entire body into biological failure. When bypassed, surgeons create an afferent jejunal loop to drain pancreatic juices and bile safely into the lower gut. If this loop accidentally kinks, the drainage physically blocks. With liver and pancreas secretions backing up, extreme hydrostatic pressure builds against the freshly sutured duodenal stump. Within the first postoperative week, this trapped pressure can forcefully blow out the stump. The patient suddenly experiences severe, intense thoraco-abdominal pain as the digestive fluid violently ruptures through the surgical stitches. This X-ray image reveals a massive, distended radio-opaque shape, indicating a slower kind of mechanical failure. Instead of a sudden blowout, this shows a stomal obstruction, where swollen tissue or telescoped intestines prevent the stomach from emptying its contents entirely. A surgeon can tie a technically flawless knot, but if the new internal plumbing creates physical bottlenecks, the rising fluid pressure will eventually destroy their work. In a healthy body, the natural stomach acts as a highly precise regulating valve, slowly releasing properly digested food into the delicate lower intestines. Once that valve is removed or bypassed, heavy, hyperosmolar meals drop directly into the jejunum in a massive, unregulated wave. This influx triggers a rapid metabolic complication known as Splanchnic Hypovolumia. Densely packed sugars and carbohydrates entering the intestine create a harsh osmotic gradient, aggressively pulling fluid from the vascular bloodstream into the intestinal lumen. This rapid decline in blood volume causes sudden fainting, extreme pallor, and a dangerous plunge in serum potassium. A secondary chemical failure can hit 2 hours later. In late dumping syndrome, the body attempts to process the heavy sugar load by releasing an excess of insulin, which subsequently crashes the patient's blood sugar to dangerous lows. By removing the body's natural anatomical delay, the surgery forces the intestines to absorb highly concentrated matter faster than the bloodstream can physically handle the chemical exchange. The stomach functions as a complex vascular hub and metabolic regulator, coordinating everything from blood flow to the systemic release of insulin. Because of this, postoperative care requires intense conservative management. Patients often rely on continuous intravenous fluid therapy and nasogastric suction to artificially maintain their fluid and electrolyte balance, while their internal systems attempt to stabilize. Once complications like a duodenal blowout or necrotic leakage occur, the survival rate drops significantly. True surgical success relies entirely on preventing these errors before closing the abdomen, ensuring pristine blood flow, perfectly mapped intestinal loops, and precisely measured stomas. A patient's recovery depends on whether their body can tolerate the radical new architecture the surgeon leaves behind. Removing the diseased tissue is only the first step.
Before modern acid-reducing drugs, a severe peptic ulcer meant a life of agonizing, persistent burning pain in the gut. Patients were often left incapacitated, confined to wards, and desperate for any kind of relief. The prevailing medical solution to this agony was brutally straightforward: cut it out. Surgeons performed gastrectomies, severing and removing the diseased portion of the stomach, or entirely bypassing it to separate the acid from the vulnerable tissue. For the patient waking up from this major operation, the result was immediate. The ulcer was gone, and the blinding pain that dictated their daily life had vanished. But the human digestive tract is a finely tuned, sequential processing plant. Nutrients must follow an exact step-by-step route to be properly absorbed. When surgeons rewired that sequence, they bypassed critical stages of digestion. The gastrectomy cured the immediate disease. But in exchange for taking away the pain, the procedure handed the patient a lifelong, itemized invoice of physiological breakdowns and mechanical failures. This diagram shows the anastomosis linking the stomach pouch directly to the jejunum. Without a buffer, caustic acid pours in, causing severe jejunal ulcers. These can erode through the intestinal wall and penetrate the adjacent transverse colon, creating a gastrojejunocolic fistula, where flow moves backward. Colonic bacteria flood upstream, fouling the clean environment of the jejunum. This bacterial overload shuts down the intestine's ability to absorb food and triggers sudden, severe, and relentless diarrhea after every meal. Even if a fistula never forms, the new plumbing can fail in the opposite direction. Bile from the lower intestines can wash backward into the stomach pouch. This condition, called alkaline reflux gastritis, leaves the stomach lining inflamed, causing a constant, severe burning sensation that vomiting cannot relieve. Bypassing the original ulcer rarely meant escaping digestive acid. It simply moved the chemical destruction to adjacent, less equipped zones of the body. Beyond the surgical site itself, the rest of the body begins to suffer from what was left out of the loop, specifically the healthy organs that were intentionally bypassed. This 100-centimeter segment of the upper intestine is the body's primary processing center for extracting minerals. By bypassing it, patients lose their main facility for absorbing iron, leading to severe anemia. Similarly, unabsorbed calcium forces the body to leach from the skeleton, causing bone deterioration. Furthermore, this surgical shortcut prevents pancreatic enzymes from properly mixing with meals. High-calorie fats pass completely undigested, a condition known as steatorrhea, leading to sudden and persistent weight loss. The surgery was a mechanical fix for a local problem, but in curing the stomach pain, the procedure effectively starved the circulatory and skeletal systems of their essential building blocks. The structural changes also introduce acute mechanical hazards. A normal stomach relies on the pyloric valve to act as a gatekeeper, grinding up solid food before slowly releasing it into the intestines. When that valve is removed, large unmasticated solids, like the pith of an orange or dried fruit, can slip prematurely out of the stomach. They slide rapidly through the wider sections of the intestine until they wedge tightly into the narrowest segment. This creates a physical blockage known as a bolus obstruction. The resulting backup accurately mimics the severe, acute symptoms of gallstone ileus, and clearing it often requires emergency medical intervention. Then, if a patient survives the ulcers, the fistulas, the blockages, and the malnutrition for 15 to 20 years, they face a final, delayed risk, a significantly increased rate of carcinoma developing directly inside the remaining gastric tissue. This is the complete itemized bill of a gastrectomy. A patient trades their immediate ulcer for a lifelong tightrope walk over fistulas, bone loss, chronic malnutrition, intestinal blockages,
and eventually cancer. A single operation dismantles the body's natural digestive sequence, exchanging a localized ulcer for systemic decay. And yet, when we look at the historical data, we find a deeply counterintuitive statistic. Over 75% of post-gastrectomy patients remained completely satisfied with the results of their surgery. They lost their normal appetite, they failed to gain weight, and their bowels operated unpredictably. But the original, searing agony of a severe peptic ulcer was so debilitating that these severe physiological costs felt like absolute freedom. It forces us to look at the math of human suffering and ask, how much of your own functional anatomy would you gladly sacrifice to buy a life free from pain?
If you found this video informative, please like and share, comment what you would like to see next, and subscribe to the channel to get notified about future informative videos.